As previously discussed, many current approaches to system development use the term domain class rather than data entity and use concepts and notations based on UML to model the things in the problem domain. So these concepts come from the object-oriented approach to system development. So a class is a type of classification to describe a collection of objects. So each object belongs to a class. So for example, if we have objects such as students, such as Mary, John, or Maria, so these are all students. So they belong to the class called students. So classes that describe things in the problem domain are called domain classes. So domain classes have attributes and associations. So remember, as you can remember in a previous lesson, that attributes are what describes an object or an entity. So for example, the student Mary can have student number, her full name, her address. So these are all the attributes of the student, of a student. And associations. So as you can remember, associations can be 0 or 1 to 1 or 1 to many or 0 to many. So those are all example of associations. So multiplicity, or we call that cardinality in ERD, applies among classes. So remember the term cardinality. So we use that term for ERD or for the entity relationship diagram, but in UML classes, specifically in class diagram, we use the term multiplicity. So initially, when defining requirements, the approach to modeling is very similar whether the analyst is using ERD or UML class diagram. So the class diagram is used to show classes of objects. Shows classes with attributes and associations. So one type of UML class diagram that shows the things in the user's problem domain is what we call the domain model class diagram. So another type of UML class diagram is called design class diagram, and it is used when designing software classes. On a class diagram, so the rectangles represents classes, and the lines connecting the rectangles shows the associations among classes. So this figure here shows such a symbol for a single domain class, which is the customer. So the domain class symbol is a rectangle with two sections. So the top sections contains the name of the class, And the bottom section lists the attributes of the class. So class names and attributes names use the camelback notation, or sometimes called camel case notation, in which the words run together without a space or underscore. So class names begins with a capital letter. So the attributes names begin with lowercase letter. And then if there is another term for that attribute, so you use capital letter for the next word. So class diagrams are drawn by showing classes and associations among classes. So the examples used previously for the ERD ERD are drawn by using UML domain class diagram notation in the following section. So you can compare them. Also, more complex issues about classes and associations can be illustrated using domain class models. So this figure here shows a simplified domain model class diagram with three classes: a customer, an order, and the order item. So just like our example in the previous lesson. Okay, so here each class symbol includes two sections. In diagram notation, you see that each customer or one customer can place many orders. So a minimum of 0 and a maximum of many. And each order is placed by one customer. So the associations places and consist of can be included on the diagram for clarity. So, but these details are only optional. It's only optional. So the multiplicity is one to many in one direction. So shown in asterisk. So the asterisk here means many. Remember that in ERD, the crow's feet notation. So this symbol in ERD shows represents many, but in domain class we use asterisk instead of this symbol. Okay, so on the next line, to the order class indicates many order. So the other associations shows that an order or one order consists of one or more order items. So remember, asterisk means more or many. Okay, the this dot here represents the range. So in ERD, as you can remember, we can represent this one to many association as a bar with three with a crow's feet. So this is one to many, in the main model class diagram. So this is equivalent to 1 dot dot asterisk. Okay, so this figure here shows the notation, UML notation for multiplicity. So this here means 0 or 1, and 1 is optional. Here 0 is the minimum or more to more, and more is optional. So here is 1 and only 1, that is mandatory. And asterisk only means 0 or more. So this is an alternate notation. And here 1 and only 1, and that is also mandatory. And this here means 1 or more, and that is also mandatory.